Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Zyori Podcast. It's June 14th, 2018, just about 9 o'clock a.m. Mountain Time, back with another Zyori Podcast, podcast number 127. We're back fresh from the super major in Shanghai, China. I kid, because there's nothing fresh about it. I'm jet lagged as fuck. I went to sleep at like 6 a.m. last night, but Trent, this has been bursting out of me. I've gone 7-1 in my calibration solo games so far, and I'm so excited to see where my ranking is going to be. I won 7 in a row, and then last night I pushed it too hard. I wanted to play so goddamn bad. I was playing on the EU servers, all right? Because it was 3 a.m. in America. Couldn't find any goddamn games. I sat in queue for half an hour. I was like, what am I doing with my life? So it actually wasn't that bad. I won 2 of them, and the last one, they finally weren't that bad, and they actually won. It was a Tinker PA for my final game, and it was brutal. But I've been living the dazzle life. It feels good, man. How's the world of Trent Packs?
Good. Just back home enjoying time with baby and wifey before shipping out again. So, I have not played a game of Dota since I got home. Have not played a game of anything.
Great.
But it's been excellent. So you finished your 10 games, did you?
No, not quite. I have two more to go, so I'm 7-1.
Wow, dude, look at you though.
Pretty darn good start. And
I'm looking at your games here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. You won your first 6 games straight as Dazzle. You must have been ridiculously psyched.
Dude, I was busting. It was an incredible feeling. I won one as Crystal Maiden. Literally, as soon as I got home, I bought food, and then I immediately queued a game of Dota before going to bed. Terrible idea after flying for like 20 hours and being all jet lagged. I felt very, very slow. But that's why I picked Crystal Maiden, You just kill some neutrals in the jungle, give your team some mana, win the mid game. Right. Pretty solid. I don't know. I've been enjoying the Dotes. I always feel that way when we come back from events. So you spend all that time studying, watching this top tier Dota. It makes me want to go home and fucking execute, baby.
Execute. Oh, well, good. Yeah, I caught some of your games. They were very enjoyable. Always.
Yeah, it's great playing against Legend 2s, dude. Calibration games. I had one game. I had a Crusader 3 Lifestealer as the other enemies won, and then we had a position 1 Spectre that was Archon 2. So that was a really interesting battle of the bastards there. Yeah, let's just say the supports did some heavy lifting on both sides. But,
yeah.
What are you going to do? I'll tell you what, though, bud. I am ready to game with you at this hub coming up because there will be PCs, and Dota is ripe for the playing. It's a good time to pub. I'm not going to lie. I saw a lot of tweets of people complaining about their calibration games, but I feel like China forced us to wait an appropriate amount of time, and I got in there after all the bads got their games out. Oh, man, this was a prime time to get in there, fuck on a couple of laggards.
Yeah, and we have, of course, qualifier starting today. It's we're not doing anything, but if you guys are here live right now and you're like, what are you guys doing? This isn't the qualifiers. There's plenty I can look at. I'm gonna name you guys. Everyone who's streaming opens right now.
Wow.
In case you're here looking for it, all right? You got BTS. The mainstream is Shiver and Odie. They're doing their thing right now. You got Bulldog streaming him playing. You got Grant going right now. You got Nomad casting the OG matches. Killer Pigeon is casting the Blinkpool squad. And who else we got? Lizard streaming his games. Gareth is streaming Team Spirit. And so they're everywhere. Go open up the Dota 2 thing. Lots of open qualifier
So
matches.
This is like the new battle for casters across the board. It's like everybody gets to pick a team, and it's first come first sort of like, all right, I got OG. All right, well, Owen and Cheever, they're going to get all the best games. And then you got Gary B over there like, I'll take Team Spirit. And he's just following Spirit's run through the open qualifiers. But it's kind of badass. Like this is a time to be alive. I feel like you open up the Dota 2 tab on Twitch and it feels like Hearthstone. There's all these streams at like 1,000, 800, 600, 600, 500, 500, 400, 400. Like all these streams that have a decent amount of viewers where you go, okay, all right, you got a little something going there. You got a little hardcore fan base. You got an audience. It's pretty exciting. However, wow. Everybody and their mother is streaming Dota right now. So, Trent, we picked one hell of a time to do a podcast.
That's good. I mean, there's no other time, man. Like, we're gone soon. We fly in like 3 days or something.
It's true.
I don't have time for this shit. I turned down Breaky's podcast for this. I was like, I'm not going to have time tonight for you, Breaky. I got the Zyori podcast. I got to do shit.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to get to Mamma Mia matinee this afternoon. You know, it's a rough day for old Trent here.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I think I'm supposed to be cooking dinner for the girl that I've been seeing tonight. Have not gone to the grocery store. I've only done half my laundry. Eek, Trent. I got a lot on the docket today too. My God.
How excited are you for a full casual hub?
I am pretty fucking excited. I'm not gonna lie. I'm getting more. I'm still in shock from coming back from China, and I don't think it's really sunken in yet that today is Thursday, and we leave for the hub on Sunday. That is actually like alarmingly soon. So
all of my hours are like fully booked until I leave. I know what I am doing like every hour until I am on that plane.
I'm not quite on that level, but actually now that I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty close to that level.
Yeah, there's not a lot to work with right now. So
yep, that's pretty good. I don't know. Hubs are such a weird experience where I feel like they're very reminiscent of the summits, where from a like I'm directly involved perspective, it gets less and less fun every single time. You know, first summit, this incredible adventure where you just don't know what's going on and it's exciting to turn your house into a LAN cafe. Second one is, man, I'm so excited. We're organized. This feels like the first one, but better. Third one is like, fuck, I don't want to move my bed out of my bedroom. I just did that. You know, and I can't even imagine what the fourth one would have been like if we hadn't. I guess they had moved into the other house by then, so it changes the whole equation. But same deal with the hubs. The first one, it's like a life-changing experience. You know, it's like the first time you do Molly, you see things with a different perspective. It's everybody comes together. Like that first hub we did was NA hub versus EU hub. We got shit on fucking hard, but that doesn't mean we didn't come together as fucking talent. That doesn't mean we didn't bond over Gerg's big fat belly. You know, it was a grand old hub. That was one of the first times I really met and hung out with Mott and was just like planted the seeds to start Moonduck, the great cuckening.
Well said.
Anyway,
we don't have to organize any of this one.
Yeah, but they're stressful as shit. They used to be these crazy, chaotic 24/7 qualifiers. Everybody's drinking, everybody's partying. We're all casting Dota. There's 3 fucking rooms all firing at once. Nobody knows what the hell's going on. We're just trying to do the best we can with what we've got in between the games. This one has more controlled chaos. But the problem is, it's like 8 or 9 days long. So yeah, it's less chaotic. But wow, this is the longest hub we're ever going to participate in, bud.
That is true. This is going to be quite the grind. So looking forward to it, though. In terms of grinding and like those very kind of long and drawn out days, that was not our experience in China. China was fan-fucking-tastic. Because in China, if you were a play-by-play caster like your man Zyori here, who isn't doing any paneling, he did 1 series a day.
Yeah,
1 series.
It's true. The life of a play-by-play caster. It's honestly incredible. Can I just take a moment here to talk about the differences in treatment across the categories of talent? You know, like you've got your stage hosts, and I think they probably have it worse because that is like a very hard job objectively. There aren't that many people that do it. There aren't that many people that enjoy doing it out of the category
reward.
That can. And yeah, it's just you're like the observers in a sense where if you're invisible, you're doing well. However, you're never invisible because your face is out there and you don't know what to do with your hands and your in-ear's not working and people don't know their cues and nobody knows what the fuck's going on.
Crowd. Oh.
It's rough, dude. And the people that do like Ari, the guy, the Filipino guy that's done some of those ESL events, he's like 10 out of 10, and he makes it look easy, and it's so not. And Slack's the same way. We've all heard his stories about his in-ears going out and having to save the day. I think hosts, it goes up and down, because you go to events, you have a lot of control, and in some ways you have the easiest job because you can do whatever you want. I don't really have to prepare the same way you guys do. I just have to be able to be prepared to fill time, So what did you think of the game? Yes. Okay. Interesting. Now we're going to, it's just managing transitions. It's like project manager on camera. And once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy, but you have to work a fuckload of hours, and when things go wrong, you've got the worst fucking job on the planet. You've got 3 Dota analysts up there, and you're trying to make something sound interesting. So what do you guys have for breakfast today?
45 minutes.
Oh, I had the tuna sandwich. Yes, it was pretty good. Yes, it was one of the better tuna sandwiches. Sometimes it's tough. That first ESL I hosted, the Milk with the Flu Merlini Purge panel, fuck me, dude. That shit is so hard. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and just like, Jesus, I could have done better with that. And then I remember I couldn't have because it was just an impossible situation. Then you go to the play-by-play casters, and this is where the sweet spot is. You know, the analysts are somewhere mixed in there, but I don't know anything about analyzing, so I can't speak to that, you know?
Sure.
But next on the docket is the fucking play-by-play, and I got to tell you, dude, once you get in the flow, once you get over those really bad habits of saying like too much and reusing the same stupid phrases, or if I had a nickel for every time and all that shit, and you just channel it. My God, it has been years since I felt that kind of just that flow of I'm just in the zone. You know, everything else around me is blocked out. Like I have blinders on in a good way, and I'm just focused on that game, and I'm just fucking in it. You know, it's like when I saw Avatar in 3D. I was just in that movie. You know, I took a couple checks into reality to see what time it was and make sure my girlfriend was still there, and then it's like right back into it. I am immersed in this motherfucker, and when you're like that, that's the greatest job on the fucking planet, Trent. One series a day, you bring your A game, that's it. It's a fucking blowout, and you go, oh, I'm done. And then you just kick back. You get good 8 hours, and you just do it again the next day, rinse and repeat. It is fucking incredible. My God, OD Pixel, I would love to be you.
I think we did 2 days in a row where our total cast time was like 50 minutes or something. Like, we had, because you're not even doing the draft. I mean, the draft is like 15 minutes. When you add it up, sometimes the draft, like full length, it takes a long time. You know, some of those drafts were exceptionally fast. I remember a couple of them were just like rapid fire right through the picks and bans and stuff. But
there are a lot of meta
when
picks.
a draft drags out, man, you know, you got to pause sometimes in the draft too. We didn't have to deal with any of that.
Yeah, it's definitely true. That takes into some of the time. And it's, you know, I was talking to Shiva about it, and one of the things that she mentioned was, you know, even so, without doing the draft, your voice is still the thing that people hear the most as a play-by-play caster. She's like, how many people turn off the game once the panel cuts on? You know, everybody thinks it's the desk host, and in a way, you are the face of the event. But, you know, that play-by-play caster during Grand Finals day, he's got way more hours, quote, on camera than anybody else. And I hadn't ever really thought about that before. You know, like the idea that person is really the voice of the tournament, and it's like, holy shit, we do tie. I guess that the co-caster's pretty close, but you know, it's like that. Those big hype moments are what people really remember, and I guess it's also the idea whenever you hit peak viewership, it's always during the game. You know, that's what people actually want to watch. Everything else is kind of just fluff on top of that in some ways.
Man, that was the life though. Everyone was very pleased though. Honestly, it was nice. It was like just so relaxed, fully pampered by PGL as always. I mean, we could eat all day. You could like order anything. We had delicious salads being delivered. You could get some Subway. You get McDonald's if you want. You get some Burger King. Dude, you get whatever you want. PGL will bring it to you.
PGL has honestly figured it out. They have clearly figured out the way to talents' hearts is keep them well fed, and everything else will sort of fall into place. And that is so much of a true statement. You're absolutely right. And it was incredible having a truly wide spread of options. And that's always the fear when you go to China is that, what's the food going to be like? And this was a China trip where it's like literally we had Burger King. We had McDonald's. True. We had sushi. You know, there were wraps. There were salads. And all of it was really good. Everyone was shocked at like, dude, the salads are actually incredible. And if multiple people made the statement, how could a salad be particularly good? And we're like, just trust me. You're like, wow, this thing's got a lot of corn in it. You know, wow, it's a whole avocado. They were just very hearty salads. And
the key was not getting catering. Honestly, number one, catering is extremely expensive. But number two, catering is just like you have to order so much food, and people only really want one thing, and so there's always like this one thing is just like full, and no one eats it, and you spend a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Instead, everyone get your own thing. It's gonna be like the same or cheaper, honestly. And then you don't have to worry about like catering quality generally being lower. Like you go to a C tournament, catering's pretty bad. I mean, even at NA, our tournaments, like the catering isn't as good as just getting, you know, food like the way that we're ordering individual meals like that.
Yeah, you know, you order from Domino's and you get your own pizza.
Yeah, great. Little mini pizzas.
Well, and you have the control. You know, it's not like there's some, okay, guys, we're going to McDonald's. You know, you only get one choice. It's like, no, I want a double cheeseburger and some fucking French fries. And some nuggets. You know, you control your own destiny.
You can go wild, man.
Yeah. No, it's It was by far one of the best events I've ever been to from a talent perspective. It was
Definitely.
just very
the
well
best.
organized, very well run. And even though our schedule was kind of light, and I take that as a good thing. It's not a complaint that we were bored, but it's like really, exactly how much you're going to be on camera. You say, okay, this is my A game. You know exactly when to sleep, exactly when you want to wake up. You set your schedule, and it makes the equation so much easier compared to, like some of the other minors that we did that were super budget where you have like one person off. Like Dota Pit was a rough event. Everybody's working 12-hour days, 4 days in a row. And at the end of it, you're just like, I don't even remember a single game from the tournament because I'm just burned out and kind of brain dead from grinding Dota hard for the last 4 days. And this event was like, I feel like I actually got to watch it, like I remember specific matches from the Super Major, and that's an awesome feel. Like to me, that's always a sign that the event was actually captivating.
Yeah, no, it's definitely true.
The venue was pretty sick.
It was the best
as well.
way to cap off the event. Yeah, the venue, unfortunately, obviously, it wasn't quite as big as other arenas and stuff. I mean, which is understandable, just because, like, that's not necessarily how you're going to be able to make a bunch of money or something these days.
Well, that was like almost the shame of it, right? Because the stage was so good. I felt like I wanted to capture it and to share it with the Western audience better, but I didn't know how. Pictures don't do it justice because it's like the
stage was very nice,
multi-screen, all the different lasers and all this stuff, and it all fit together very nicely. You have a really perfect idea of what's going on, and it's not too busy, but it's still very full. And yeah, I think it was disappointing from a live audience perspective that a Chinese team didn't make it to the finals. I think that really hurt the venue hype. And they really, originally the English casters were supposed to be in the actual venue where, like, the crowd is, so you pick up more of that rumble. But there were a lot of issues with picking up the Chinese audio that was played in the venue, and it was just not... It would have been bad. It would have taken away from the English cast when you just hear Chinese in the background. That's kind of overwhelming and loud and just...
My God.
Would not have worked.
They were so loud whenever China did something.
Yeah.
It was wild. Like, dude, I've heard, like, some of the Russian fans commentating on Reddit and some of the Chinese fans commentating saying, if you guys think English casters are biased, you need to listen to, like, some of the Chinese casts or the Russian casts. It was, like, night and day to when, like, Secret did something or, like, LGD did something. My God, it was so ridiculous.
Well, the other thing that's funny, too, is the observing, especially in the Chinese stream, was definitely not very good, but...
It was awful.
The observing is biased. Like, whatever team they care about, they watch everything, and the team they don't care about, it's like, oh, yeah, whatever. Oh, they killed one of our supports, not going to bother showing that. The other team loses support, it's like, oh, my God, Solo dies again. It's pretty... It's just surprising because I feel like we do a really comparatively good job of just presenting it as an even, playing field, and whoever wins, not like one team is really the favorite. I don't know. That's the whole bias caster meme and whatnot.
Yeah. But yeah, and that was a super major. I mean, overall,
are you going to talk about the buffet, Trent?
I mean, I feel like maybe we've said enough, but I guess not on the podcast.
I think we've talked about it so much, but off camera amongst all of us, that we're like, all right, I'm burned out on the buffet. But Jesus, that thing, because I've missed all of those Manila events. That is really where I have heard most talent talk about, aside from your Dubai story, just like, wow, that hotel. And it was the crazy one for the Manila Major. And, that was just one of the nicest events that Dota has ever had, because it was after the really awful Shanghai Major. So it really swung like, hey, we have to make up for this really dumpy event. But the buffet was, if you like seafood, I mean, my God, I was in seafood heaven. They had a sashimi bar, lobster, clams, little fucking shellfish I've never seen before, king crab snow legs. They had just sushi on the side, and it's just all you can eat, freshly cut right there. I must have eaten $1,000 worth of
easily.
Seafood,
I would guess over. Actually, it must have been over. How many days did you eat seafood, dude?
How many days were we there? I tweeted a picture of my first meal, and I ate that every single day.
You 100% have mercury poisoning. Like,
is that why I can't think straight?
That's probably what it is, dude.
Oh no.
Like, Holy shit, you ate a lot of seafood.
I really did.
I mean,
That's
I ate a
so
lot of
much
shawarmas too. There was a Turkish guy there who would just make you shawarmas.
Yeah.
Little mini shawarmas. Like 100% legit, absolutely delicious shawarmas. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh my god. The food was unbelievable.
The clams were
so
pretty
good.
shitty. I have to admit. The clams were pretty bad. They did not have much flavor. I didn't eat many of the clams. I could taste the mercury, I think. But everything else was good. I actually didn't eat one of the shawarmas. I am sad to admit I didn't eat a shawarma.
Yeah, you fucked up, dude. They were so good.
Yeah,
Oh.
I don't know. The hummus.
Oh.
The fluffy hummus, whatever the hell they do to it, it was Sunsfan was eating it like ice cream. He's like, this is the best hummus I've ever had.
It was the best hummus ever, dude. There was a lot of lard in that hummus, I am sure. You know, whenever something tastes too good, it's lard. It's like too much fat, it's butter, it's cream. One of those things is in abundance, and that was certainly the case with that hummus. Oh. It didn't even like feel like hummus. It did not have the texture of hummus. It had the texture of like ice cream.
Did you,
as you said?
Did you try the turtle soup that everybody was talking about? The hyped up soup. They ring the gong every time it's ready.
No, I did not.
I didn't eat the baby turtles either. All right, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do it, man.
I couldn't do it.
I'm not really one for soup. I'm not really a soup guy.
You're not a soup guy. Oh my gosh, you've just
Not
offended
really one of my
so many
favorite
Asians
things.
by saying that right now. Trent.
That's true. They love soup.
They
I
do
know.
love their soup. It's no, I don't know. It was some sort of special the baby turtles they used to make the soup. The 2-year-old turtle. Shiver's description had really confused me, and I thought that there were turtles swimming in the soup, but apparently that's not the case. They just
only
they put some turtle meat in there, and then that's the whole thing. So it just the more you know. But it was pretty cool being in Shanghai, like in the whatever it's called, the main block. I would call it the downtown, but like that main block where all the really iconic buildings are. Where like a stone's throw away from the Pearl and the big bottle opener building, and the Shanghai
Central
Tower.
Business District.
Yes, the business
would be the
district.
correct term.
It's a pretty poppin' spot, and it was a really cool place to be. And honestly, compared to like the first DAC that I went to in 2015. That was also in Shanghai, and it's a night and day difference. Apparently, they've moved a lot of the factories and the industry outside of the city, but the smog and stuff was so much worse when I was there before. And this time it was
like 2
not
days of
bad
smog
at
really?
all. I mean, it's not perfectly clear by a normal unpolluted area standards. You're like, oh, wow, it's a little smoggy, but you don't need to wear a mask. There's really no reason to wear a mask compared to what it was like when I was there before. Nobody was coughing. I mean, I was a little mucusy. I was blowing my nose a little more than usual, but it's really incredible how much it's changed. And that's not been that long. It's like 2.5 years or something.
Yeah. It was a great time. We had our Hagen journey.
Yeah.
Some of you guys might have seen. That was pretty funny.
The Hagen trip, that was good. We were going to do a podcast, did a live IRL stream instead.
Yep.
To get ice cream. That was great.
Häagen-Dazs.
Shannon buy us Hagen.
Yep.
It is. It's pretty westernized in that area, though. We saw a lot of Starbucks.
Yes. Yep.
We
Hooters.
saw, TGI Fridays. There were a couple.
Very disappointed we didn't go to Chinese Hooters. Not gonna lie.
I think we also, me too. I think we do need to shout out the after party though, because there is
true.
so much footage of people complaining about after parties, probably of us complaining about after parties, begging PGL for something that isn't at a fucking rave so that we can all just converse. And my God, sir, we got it. It was at like, what did you describe? Like a cigar bar
It
type
was like
feel?
6 cigar lounges. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, it felt kind of like a gentleman's club without the strippers kind of a thing. Just a very upscale, old school, Aleister Crowley kind of themed, and just had like pool tables and chandeliers, and we were drinking wine and beers, and it was great. Wine and beer were free, and if you wanted liquor, you had to buy it. I think
you just stood next to PPD.
Yep, I think that's a very fair way to do things. You don't have people getting completely drunk and out of control like you do with the open bar, and you're also not paying $10,000 for an open bar so everybody can vomit on each other. So that's a value add, but it was awesome. We pretty much just talked the whole time. I had 5 glasses of wine, a shot of tequila, and then I went to bed satisfied.
Yeah, plus the patch dropped. Not the patch, but the patch did drop, but also the announcement of the qualifier slots, which was pretty funny.
It
so.
literally dropped
NA
during
was
the after
celebrating.
party. Everybody's just on their phones like, oh my God, 3 invites for NA. Oh.
Yeah. Peter's throwing out tequila. He's like, easy. You know, it was great. What more can you ask for at an after party?
Yeah, definitely top tier. So shout out PGL event. Very well run. I guess it was a PGL Perfect World combo, but pretty much all of our interface was with PGL, and they fucking slayed it. It really was an event to remember. It was appropriate for the Super Major and to close off the circuit this year. Excited to see what's coming up next. Should we talk about the next circuit a little bit there, Mr. Trent? Announcements have been made.
Should we talk about the qualifier slots first for this circuit before we go on next year?
Yeah, let's do it.
In terms of, I 100% agree with Valve. I think most people do. I think Knoxville, when he put out his thing, basically talking about what they should be, he got it right. I think he was correct. And honestly, I think if you want the best teams at TI, slots are correct. What more can you ask for, right?
Yeah. I think that's really the main takeaway. You know, you read the reaction on Reddit and the dialogue about how it's unfair and this region gets 3. I think if you look back, the goal has always been with TI for the most part, get the best teams from around the world to the international. You know, there's some equal representation in that Valve does have dedicated qualifier slots and is very serious about making sure even smaller underfunded regions like South America still have some representation, but I don't think the goal has ever really been equal representation. It's always been just representation of the best teams. TI is about the best Dota, and I think which region gets 3 slots is just dependent on which region has the strongest teams, even though EG hasn't looked really that great.
I that's what I will say.
They're still contenders.
If there's any argument, I would say that CIS did get a little boned, just with the number of slots. But that would be my only issue. But however, with the number that were given out, if there was one more slot, it would go to CIS. But with the numbers they had, I think it's correct the way it is. So, that's how I would put it.
I mean, if there were a world where you had to take one slot away from NA, where would you put it? I think pretty much everybody agrees it would go to CIS.
However, I think the NA slot is more deserved, especially everyone who's crying for Na'Vi. Like, their points are only because of Lil. Hate to break it to you. But I think a lot of the same argument does apply to EG in the sense that, like, a lot of their points did come from, like, basically being invited to so many tournaments. Fair to say. So, you know, depends on how you want to look at it. But very excited.
Maybe it's hard to separate out what will be a perceived NA bias, but I still think you take Na'Vi in their current state, put them in the incubator, boot camp for 2 months. You take EG in their current state and do the same thing. EG will yield better results out of that boot camp than Na'Vi.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if they did not. But, I mean, hey, that's what
but
TI
that's
is
the
for,
gamble.
so.
Yeah, I mean, nothing is locked in. I don't think anyone is saying EG has looked good. That's for sure. Optic and VCJ Storm, the big 2.
Plus, of course, you don't get those 2 months before the actual qualifiers, which is pretty terrifying. Like, I'm excited to see what teams are like after the 2 months and everything, but imagine if someone like EG just doesn't make it. Like, God, what a waste of time that would be for them, eh?
Yeah.
Like, what do you even do until after TI, man? You have to, like, start making your next team. Like,
man.
Would you just pub? Like, it's a
I don't know.
question. Yeah.
That is a very good question. A scary one at that.
Don't fail.
Yeah, let me pull up the direct invites here. The regionals or the opens rather are pretty stacked. I mean, I guess that's to go full circle where this whole thing started. That's why there's so many goddamn people online right now, because there are a lot of teams that are actually worth watching. Looks like the Dota 2 site might be taking a shit right now, but that's okay. But yeah, I don't know. This is one of those boring moments where we're just going to agree with each other, Trent, and be like, yep, number of qualifier slots on point, and we're both from NA, and no one's going to be wowed by our analysis. But in terms of teams making it right to the regionals, it was actually a pretty small spread, and there were more added after the
Yes.
original announcement. Immortals was
missed a
added
couple.
to NA. Yeah, so C is TNC and Fnatic. I don't think it would be a huge upset if any other team comes out of Southeast Asia. It's only top 2. I think those 2 teams are far and large top of the region. No real contest.
Yeah, EU is 100% going to be, in my opinion, with the fact that like the NA one now has 3 slots instead of the 2 everyone was kind of assuming. Like that's why everyone was excited for that battle to happen.
Yeah.
Now the excitement definitely moves to EU, right? Because you only have the one single slot and you have all these different stacks. Like Archie's pointed out there, the March QO stack is in there. You've got that's the not the same one with Buryu, right? The
Kingdra?
what is it, War or whatever?
Or
Yeah,
teams-
March QO is the Jo, Reason, and Nuts are the other 3, and then you've also got the Blink Pool stack and the War stack or whatever. Or is that the same one? They just got sponsored.
I see. Is
Anyway.
it Singularity?
It's exciting. Let me see who's the Blink Pool stack. Let me Google this here. It's Madara. Oh, that's right. That's Madara, Kezu, Saksa, Kaiser, and Misery.
Oh,
So,
that team.
yes,
Okay.
even better.
Wow. Blink Pool making a play. Interesting. So yeah, CIS, that is pretty much to me all eyes on Vega. That's where the pressure lies. A lot of pressure
that one's I guess CIS is kind of exciting too, just for Navi, Vega, Spirit. That's true.
And Fly to Moon. There's always the chance.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, they're also fine.
Always the chance.
Yeah. And of course they you also have 2 qualifiers. So like 5 dogs are already out today, but they can play tomorrow. So yeah. Don't forget you can also watch the Bulldog stack with Garter and Lizard also playing right now. So everyone's playing opens. What a time to be alive.
When does NA start later today? Then is that
Yes,
so? It's like
it does.
evening local time, I guess, is the
Yeah.
gist of it. So most people can play after work, all that stuff. Okay, fair
And
enough.
all right, but anyway, so next year then. Let me bring up the announcement as well. What's going on next year, dude?
I also have to. I don't want to misquote because there is so much going on. It was interesting that this news ended up dropping in the middle of the tournament at the
Yes.
Super Major because there's just all pretty much all the top teams for the most part that are directly affected by this were at the event. So it was just an odd time for many of them were still participating in the Super Major and rather distracted and just tough to visualize exactly what this season looks like. I guess the main takeaways starts very quickly after TI. September 15th is supposed to be the official start date of the next season. Yeah. The idea is to allow teams more flexibility so there won't be hard roster locks. There's now new guidelines about team ownership and basically to participate in the majors, team orgs can't own multiple teams that are all playing against each other to prevent potential bias. But now we've got some controlled chaos. Instead of this just open, hey, who wants to run a tournament when? There are guaranteed dates for minors and majors, and there is some flow across them. We actually have major qualifiers, then minor qualifiers, then the actual minor event, and then 4 days later, you have your majors, and teams that play in the minors can qualify for the major. So you have this whole little sequence, it's kind of 5 blocks of minor major that are interconnected and will have some sort of large prize pool and carry us through the season. So those blocks start in the beginning or middle of September and run all the way through June 30th. So it's a super tight schedule, but pretty interesting. It presents a lot of possibilities for changing the way qualifiers are handled. A rumor says that those qualifier dates will be pretty blocked off. So if you have those qualifiers, that's the thing to watch. You know, that it's not a huge time frame to run the qualifiers for a major, but there shouldn't really be anything else going on because there's no other events happening that people are going to want to qualify for.
Yeah, that is the part I don't fully understand so far, I will say. Because I'm rereading it and I don't see that written here. Maybe I'm just missing it. But I also do know that we were told that basically nothing else will be happening. Like, if you want to run an ESL, like, for example, ESL Hamburg, right, it's already confirmed not going to be a major or minor.
Yeah.
You can't have your qualifiers during any of these dates.
Yeah, supposedly.
That's wild.
Supposedly.
So, like, how does that work?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I guess that means a lot of those events will have more kind of direct invite type things, but like I look at this schedule and my immediate, even just having the major and minor qualifiers separated by default as we look at the schedule outline is a huge improvement. We're not going to have those hell weeks where you have the poor final tribe guys playing in like 4 different tournaments against the same team just back to back to back to back with no breaks and like, well, if you don't show up right now, we're going to DQ you. And it's like, listen, man, nobody's trying to get away with anything here. This is just a shit situation. We're all doing the best we can. I think those days are behind us, at least that's what my gut tells me. But
yeah, you play that like best of 17 or whatever that Final Tribe and Kingwin played or something ridiculous, like over the course of 3 days, 17 matches. It's crazy.
So there's definitely some big improvements, but there are some things that make me wonder, like we don't know what the prize pools look like here. So who knows if it's the same kind of you put up 150, Valve puts up 150 for a minor, but based on how much Captain's Draft cost to run as a minor last season, I don't know how you make running a minor profitable this season because there are so many new variables introduced. The dates are less flexible, so you need to find a venue for those specific dates, which I can only assume will be sort of a challenge. You don't know which teams are going to be there until pretty short beforehand. So your runway, like a big part of how you sell sponsors, or at least how we sold sponsors for Captain's Draft, is knowing, hey, these are the teams we're going to directly invite. They're guaranteed to be there. These teams will be there. If those teams are secret and EG, sponsors care about that. And they go, oh, cool. Yeah. Okay, so you are guaranteed to have some tier 1 teams at your tournament. I don't really care what the second half are because you've already hit 2 of my top 3 choices that we want activations for this sponsorship, right? That's a lot harder to do if you've got no fucking idea until like a month before that thing is supposed to start. A lot of those sponsorship deals take multiple months worth of runway to be locked in black and white. So there are just a couple question marks that I wonder. We don't plan on applying for one of those minors. Let me put it that way. I don't know how you turn that money into more money, and I don't have that kind of money.
It's wild to think that, like, who's gonna watch the minor, man? I don't know. Like, it'll be funny if there's someone there who like didn't make the major, right? So like, let's say next year, let's say Team Liquid somehow something happens in the major qualifier, they don't make it. They get cheesed out or something. So then Team Liquid has to play in the minor qualifier. Then they have to play in the minor main event, and then of course if they win that, they then get to go to the major main event. So that would all start like. I just can't even imagine, man. Oh, it'd be so wild.
Yeah, 4 days. So you win the minor, and it's like, all right, boys, saddle up. We're going to the major in 10 days. Woo! Like, that's a fucking party right there. That is an insane roller coaster that is so much different compared to how it's set up now.
Yeah, majors are 10 to 11 days long. So let's say you make it to the minor. You play the minor for 5 days. And then you fly the 3 days to the major, and then you play another 10 to 11 days at the major. So you would be like, that would be like qualifier hours on land. You would be like 15 out of 19 days. You would be playing games, assumedly.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I think the main criticism that I heard that I had really no counter argument for is I don't think in this current form there is any flow from major to major. Like, if you win the first major, you just get 7 days off, and then you're immediately playing major qualifiers again if you want to go to the next one. And it kind of makes sense where, if you get top 3 at a major, maybe you should automatically be invited to the next major as a, reward for placing so high, because it does seem a little odd. All right, Liquid just won a major. Congratulations. Now go back to the qualifiers and knock them out. That's just a little strange.
That is surprising. There will be no direct invites to either minors or majors, and you don't get to hop into the next one or something.
Yeah.
That was something. There were a couple questions that kind of posed in terms of also this idea of just like if you win the minor going to the major, you need that visa ready. So everyone who's in the minor has to have a visa ready to go to that country, which isn't that big of a deal for certain countries, but then for other ones that might not even be like It'd be very difficult.
It's tough. And remember, what's scary about visas is usually you have to give them your passport. So while that whole thing is being processed and figured out, it's usually pretty difficult to travel to other events. So the way this is structured, it is totally possible, and teams can plan far enough ahead, and they can get the pre-flights or whatever from the event, and it is definitely possible. But it adds another layer of potential complication depending on where the majors and minors are held. I think that really is the key aspect when it comes to talking about visa stuff. So,
I'm sure it's all going to be like the major minor will both be in Europe and the major minor will both be in China. Like that's kind of been discussed already.
Likely. Yeah, I mean, that would make sense, right? It would be wild to,
–
hey, minor in South America. All right, we're going to the major in Russia. Let's load up, boys. 36-hour flight. Let's go. I mean, I doubt we'll see the Australia minor that flows into the Dubai major. That's a little –
Yes.
It's a little much. So we'll see. I mean, per usual, I have faith. I think this is definitely – a step in the right direction. We had this crazy season that was awesome in a lot of ways, and it was really cool to see the variance event to event and all the different formats. And I think this season as a whole was an incredible learning experience for all of us. I feel like the audience, the casters, the players, tournament organizers, we have a really good idea of what works and what doesn't. We have a pretty good idea of which streaming platform works and which one doesn't. We have a pretty good idea that single limb is pretty much Beat Street. There are certain things that now we know without a shadow of a doubt, hey, we did it, we tried it, we threw some darts, and some of them motherfuckers did not land on a bullseye. And that's good.
Yeah.
Like I think we should take that as a positive, and this is just another step in that iteration. Is it perfect? Probably not. Will the season after this probably even be that much better? Absolutely.
Yes.
But I mean, that's the fucking game we're playing here, fam. There's no playbook. We're making it up as we go. So I'm feeling pretty good about this next season. I won't lie.
My absolute largest concern personally is the 5-day major qualifier. That is by far my biggest, I mean, I get that you have exclusive time, but you have 2 qualifiers from every region.
It's a hub,
5 days.
That's what it is. It's like an old school Kiev major qualifier hub. That's literally what it is.
Yeah, but no one's gonna pay to fly people out. I mean, ESL did it last year with the Facebook money, but I don't think they're gonna do it again because they got no love for it.
Well,
even
just
though
you wait, big guy.
I enjoyed my fly to Berlin, ESL. So please bring me back. It was excellent.
Just you wait.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, the thing though, I've talked a lot about how hubs are difficult on this podcast, right? But the reason hubs are difficult is because they've always existed in a different form where it has been completely open. That's why TI hubs are the worst for sponsors, because you have no idea what anyone else is going to do. You have some control when it's the summit or captain's draft and you own the entire thing. And yeah, sure, Bulldog can stream with delayed Dota TV, but it doesn't really take away from the main product that you're pushing out because you own the event. But TI qualifiers, you don't own shit, and everybody's doing stuff. And every other studio wants to make a play at it, and you have no idea what everyone else is going to do. So when you go to a sponsor and they say, well, what kind of viewers are you expecting for this event? And you go, well, it depends what BTS does. If BTS decides to fly out Puppy and Sing Sing and do an awesome fun hub and do EU Hub 2.0, we're probably not going to get a lot of viewers. If it's just Dakota and Gods casting for 20 hours a day, mailing it in, I'm feeling more confident. It's like you have no idea what everyone else is going to do. Who's to say that Envy and a whole bunch of other players don't just start Good Kappa Studios or whatever, and just start covering stuff, right? That's totally going to eat into our viewership. So these hubs are different though, Trent. You own it, and there's only 5 events, and let's say ESL is committed to trying to really rebuild their name in Dota in this next season. What's one way that you could do it? Do one fucking bitchin' ass hub for the second major and make people give a shit about qualifiers again and build some storylines and hype that shit up? I don't know. It's possible. The opportunity's there. Is it cost effective? I don't know. But I think hubs could be cost effective if you change that equation of it being exclusive and owning the content. That's a big deal. That gives you a lot more flexibility in terms of sponsor dollars.
It feels like it's going to create a even larger disparity between the spending on majors and minors, though. Like this year, it wasn't that bad because you would have good teams at minors, but like now the same issue occurs for minor qualifiers. It's the exact same thing. Who the fuck wants to do that? It's even shorter. It's only 4 days, and you don't know who's gonna be. You remove the 2 best teams in every region, assumedly. Maybe you get one team that fucked up the major qualifier, and you got like 2 good teams, one good team. Now what are you gonna do? Like,
oh, it's not great. You're getting pretty much.
I can't sell that.
100% tier 2 teams, maybe a couple tier 3 teams that sneak in. You're not getting big brands. I mean, it's like a Na'Vi tournament.
You have Valve is like, fuck all y'all though. Don't stream anything. Other than that, now, like you're not gonna get a tournament ticket that's allowed to be played during this time, right?
Supposedly.
That's essentially what Valve are saying. Interesting. I wonder what would happen if you just didn't get a ticket and you ran a tournament.
Well, that's a whole nother conundrum. That one.
I mean, first, Valve, not me. I would never do anything to piss you off. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure that won't end up being an issue, but it is kind of funny. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
it's going to be interesting.
Some interesting facets to this one, and I'm curious.
Be good for streamers. Imagine like Bulldog just streaming during a minor. Like games are trash, don't want to watch it. Bulldogs are streaming. Easy views.
I mean, yeah. That is definitely a problem.
Well,
I don't know. And I'm also just curious who wants to run, like, who's applying for minors right now? What do those events look like? And like you said, how are they structured? You know, what's the?
It has to be at a loss. There's no way. Like, you have to pair it. If you don't pair it with your major, I just don't see how you can make money.
I mean, it's true, but
running a major and making money is hard enough.
What are the prize pools too? It really doesn't say anything about prize pools in here whatsoever, and that is obviously a huge factor in the equation of cost analysis.
Imagine if you get like a major, but you only need 8 teams for a minor, so that is good. But let's say, even as a major organizer, let's say you want to run a major in Europe, you now have to fly 2 South American teams somewhere.
That's true.
Imagine those tickets, dude.
Yeah. South
like
America
$60K
flights
in travel flights
are brutal. Oh my god. And it doesn't really matter where you're flying them to. If it's international outside of the continent, there aren't many good spots from South America that are accessible and cheap and good flights. I mean, it's really tough. Trust me, we've looked.
Yeah.
But I think the changes about team ownership are good, and I think the lack of roster locks is pretty generally considered to be a good thing. I think that the general thought process behind the roster lock changes is this current system is way too rigid, and we have way too many good teams playing through the open qualifiers, and that's not really what the open qualifiers are designed for. So obviously something isn't calibrated right here. I think this new system does a better job of just incentivizing you against changing your roster regularly, but it gives you the flexibility to change your roster whenever you want if it makes sense for your team for a reasonable loss. You know, like playing with stand-ins is possible at tournaments, but you just gain less DPC instead of if you had your 5 proper players. You know, so you can try somebody out and say, hey, if we still win, if this looks good, we're de-incentivized to do it, but we still can. It's not like we're disqualified because we're playing with 4 out of 5 where we had a player drop out suddenly or get poached and we're still trying out someone new. I think that is one of the best changes to this circuit, is that I think we'll continue to see team stability, but see swaps be a little bit less devastating. You know, this season it was like cataclysmic swaps. No, there weren't any trades. It was just like, okay, OG's fucking defunct. Oh, man. You know, like those kind of huge, it feels like breakups almost.
The only ones that like kind of followed the roster lock in its like its essence, or like what it feels like it was supposed to be, would be the Lil VP, right? Lil going to Na'Vi, Roger going to VP, done in, points were exchanged, and then as well with Fnatic and Universe too. Kind of the same idea of like Universe is gone, he joins Fnatic in time for the lock, his points are added to Fnatic, blah blah blah. But that's like the 2 examples essentially, and everyone else, the system is designed to like protect and help players, but in the end it was just kind of hurting and not aiding in overall competition. So It's not surprising it had to be changed out. I think Valve made the right call there.
Yeah, no doubt. So we'll see, but not a lot of downtime. I think that's the crazy part. I wonder if any of those like top TI teams that aren't really going to shuffle that much will look at those dates and say, maybe we skip this first one.
Well, there are I don't know. It looks really blocked off, but like for example, the entirety of October, there's nothing.
That's true.
So it's like when you actually like get in there, because at first I was like, oh my god, this is insane. So October, there's nothing, but then right away, like November, pretty damn busy. You've got like a week off between the major main event until the next major qualifier. Pretty bad. And then you have to look for those like all of December. You've got the holidays off.
Yeah.
So there's months in there, but overall, compared to this year,
there are blocks.
It's fairly similar.
I think it is still just a little jarring. I'm just thinking historically, TI has this like burnout period where it's like this everyone. Yep. It's just ubiquitous. It's fans, it's TOs, it's players, it's people are just tired of watching and talking about Dota. TI is always so good and so overload, and like the prize pool and all these cosmetics and all this shit gets dropped. It's overwhelmingly awesome, and that's cool. But once it's done, there's just that crash of, okay, I don't really give a shit about leveling up my battle pass anymore. You know what, Dota Plus, you can just fuck quests off. It's just, cavern crawl. Oh yeah, I've already unlocked everything. There's just this natural burnout period, and players do it too. It's like you can go back and look at TI interviews. It's like, hey, you just won $500,000 individually. What are you gonna do? I'm going to take a month off and not play any Dota. I'm going to party and play PUBG. It's like I'm gonna take a fucking break from Dota. Right now, you're going to be grinding for major qualifiers. That's potentially like $1 million tournament right there, a $1.5 million tournament. Who knows what the prize pool is going to be for majors next circuit.
Oh. And of course, the points, though. The points. The
points, absolutely. So it's hard to imagine not wanting to compete in that first event, but I think 2 weeks is, that you're supposed to have roster lock. That's you can't take time off, because what if somebody gets poached? You got to be on the fiend. You got to be ready to figure out which new teams are forming, Trent. God. Roster locks will come into effect, though. They still are there before you start potentially losing points for the next season. So you have 2 weeks. You get no vacation unless your team is 100% safe and you are not shuffling. But what team is safe from the shuffle?
This is going to be the best and worst TI after party of all time. For sure. It will be the best because of the fiend, and it will be the worst because it's just going to be really stressful for a lot of players.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be a lot of players there that are not competing at TI, I am sure, man. That is like, if there was ever a value flight or a value play as a player, get to fucking TI, dude. Like, you gotta be there. You gotta get in on that fiend. You gotta get in the after party, because that's when all the moves go down.
Yeah, it's true, man. It really is.
You see it, right? You see people starting to group, and you're like, they've been talking for a couple hours. Or it's like the last couple days at TI, you see the same players sitting together, and you're like, that's a team after this event. It's very interesting to watch.
Yeah, it sure is. I'm excited. I can't wait. We've got our Airbnb set. Vancouver is going to be a fun time. It's always fun to be there with the Moonduck crew.
Moonduck. Yeah, looking forward to seeing
Vancouver. Still waiting on talent invites, and you never know the full spread of who's going, who's not until pretty late in the game. I guess usually, when do talent invites usually get announced? It's like after Hub. It's usually like within a week or so after the Hub is what's been historically pretty close.
Actually, I think that's when people get invited. Isn't it like announced by Valve usually like maybe like a week before or something?
I think it...
Not a week, sorry, like a month before TI.
It's changed. For most TIs, it's actually been kind of a cluster where people just get invited individually, and there's this thread that kind of happens as people go, I'm going or I'm not going, and it just gets pieced together. Maybe the last 2 TIs are the ones where Valve has actually invited people, said, hey, don't say anything, we're going to announce it, and then they do a formal announcement that just includes everybody, so there's no mystery. There's nobody in that limbo of, I wonder if I'm I wonder if they just didn't invite me yet. I wonder how close they're really going to cut it.
The classic.
I think that mystery will probably hopefully not be there, but you never know. But anyway, always that exciting, stressful time of the year for players and talent alike, huh, Trent?
Yeah, the old TI.
Good old TI. But no, it's gonna be fun. New venue, new location. I can't wait to see what they have in store. Always excited. But I'm also excited for a little bit of R&R after this hub, Trent. June is this is the busiest month we've had in a long time. China for 10 days, home for 5, doing the hub for 8 days or whatever. I'm fucking gone for June, bud.
Yeah, and then July. I've already started getting some vacation going on too.
Yep.
Thinking about camping, heading out. Very excited. First summer with the babe, of course. So it'll be funny.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Beautiful.
He's already got his life jacket / swim pants.
Oh,
but it's been a little bit too chilly to throw him in the lake yet. So it's gonna be a very crude awakening, dude. He loves the bathtub. It is his favorite thing in the world.
Really?
He is so happy. It's amazing. He loves it. So I feel like when he sees water, he's gonna get very excited. It's gonna be like the tub, and it's gonna be extremely cold in comparison. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Well, that'll be exciting. That's
the poor lad.
A Canadian rite of passage, just dunk him in the water.
Yeah, we'll give him the polar bear dip in January.
That's good. You gotta prime him.
Would be abused.
You gotta get a base. Yeah, that's true, dude. You gotta look out. In Boulder, I think that does qualify as abuse.
Yeah. It'll be good.
However, I think also calling him a he in Boulder is also potentially abusive. So you're
wait.
I think you're on the right side of the country in that regard, or right side of the continent, I suppose. Jesus Christ. But
you haven't annexed us yet. Come on now.
Not quite. Oh, Jesus, dude. There have been exciting things in politics, though. Trump had a summit with North Korea. Dude, the World Cup starts tomorrow. This is like a fun time.
I like how you just grouped the World Cup into politics.
Well, it's just global things happening that are interesting. They're all kind of in that category of I kind of care. But, I mean, you and I both are at this point, we're pretty disconnected from news and our conversations about politics are like, hey, have you heard about this thing? Nah, not really. Oh, me neither. We don't debate anymore because we're both just like, yeah, it's fucking batshit bananas crazy. I can't engage with that right now. It's just, there were a couple times before we were getting set up to cast and I'm just like, I have to put this down. I can't read any more drivel or my brain is going to be polluted for casting. It's just, that's the current state of politics. But apparently North Korea is looking all right. Maybe they're maybe going to throw away some nukes at some point.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
We'll see. We eagerly await the Nobel Peace Prize for Donald Trump.
But Canada's in the World Cup, right? That's good.
Are we? I know we won the thing. The bid, of course. Canada, U.S., and Mexico working together 2026.
Now, that is actually exciting, dude. I would
some good shit.
Totally go to World Cup in America. Woo!
Yeah. Yes, that's pretty cool. I don't think we're in the World Cup.
Oh, you didn't qualify?
I'm pretty sure we're pretty bad, dude.
I'm cheering Sweden. America didn't make it. I know Italy didn't make it. There was another big upset that didn't qualify, and I don't remember who, but go Sweden, I think. Those are my boys.
Oh, that'll be good.
Are you not going to watch World Cup, Trent? You don't seem very excited.
I'll watch a little bit at the BTS house, but I'm more excited to just play Dota in our downtime. So.
Yeah. I guess I got my real Dota fix out last night. Carlo has been on a real downward streak, though. He went like 1-9 in his party games for calibration and had a complete conniption. And on his final game, we had a techies mid on our team against an enemy tinker, and he got so mad. It was almost impressive.
Oh, Carlo.
Good old Carlo.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm pretty good to rock and roll here. I got a busy day, boys and girls. Sorry to call on a short one, but the baby beckons.
Jeez, good old
the being at home calls.
Trent Pax. Oh, okay. So one final piece to close this out. So I just remembered the thing that I wanted to tell you. So I've been seeing this girl that's from South Korea, right? She's here on a PhD program. So very international, right? Strong accent. Right. I asked her, do you think in Korean or English? And her response was obviously Korean. So that just to set a base for where we're at here. So,
well, yes.
Date 3, We go out to dinner, come back to her house or her apartment, whatever, open the door, and it smells like somebody had been cooking in there recently. And she goes, oh, it smells funny in here. And I said, oh, yeah, it smells kind of like Chinese food. And immediately I go, or Korean food, you know, whatever. And then she just goes, so you think all Asian food smells like Chinese food, huh? And I was like, I mean, no, but kind of, yes. That was oddly racist, and I didn't really mean for it to sound as racist as it did. I felt like such a fucking idiot. The moment I said it, I was like, oh, geez, that was a foot and mouth right there. I mean, we giggled about it, but Jesus Christ, dude. I was shocked at my own, just like, wow, you don't think of, like...
Well, yeah.
It wasn't that racist, but it's like you should have known better. You know what I mean? Like...
It is kind of funny.
it smells like Chinese food in here. Oh,
I don't know enough about Korean food to really... I wouldn't know Korean food when I smell it. I've been to KBBQ once. It was awesome. But it doesn't really smell like Chinese food, does it? I mean, Chinese food to us is like just deep fried, honestly.
It's true.
Like, when I think like Chinese food, I think like deep fried garbage, basically, in terms of like the stuff that's served here. It's not like you're getting a nicely made like bok choy thing going on or something, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my, beef and broccoli, you know, the finest food of mainland China.
It's a good point. It's definitely true, but just representative of my general awareness, I think.
That is funny though.
Can partially blame jet lag, but no excuse for that one. My God. So we'll see how this one works out. But I guess that's where we'll about wrap her up. You guys know where to find the podcast, audio only at Zyori.tv. It'll be up on the Moonduck YouTube. We're headed over to the hub and probably be until after the hub till we have another podcast. Exciting news in terms of Saturday. I've been working on a little bit of a crypto project, and we have an app that we are going to do a public beta with. So if you're interested in participating, I think it's going to be Saturday at noon Eastern. We're going to do
not
a
a scam.
2-hour block. It is not a scam. We're running the beta on the testnet, so there's no real Ethereum or anything being used. It's all fake testnet money or whatever that doesn't have any value. So you can help us test the game, or it's more of just more of a mini app. If you want information, it'll be not in the Moonduck Discord, but that one, the Zyori Discord. I'm going to be tweeting about it later. There's going to be like a Google forum and all that shit if you want to register to get access. And come have some fun and get a little sneak peek of what we've been working on the blockchain. And I think that's it. Multifocus and shit, you know?
Looking forward to checking it out. Should be kind of cool. See what you've been up to.
Cool. It's gonna be bitching. Yeah.
Are you gonna reveal who's been working on it with you?
Well, I might as well because it's gonna be pretty soon. But it's myself, Carlo, and good old Jenkins, a name you might recognize from the Dota community. He's quite the programmer himself, and he's our lead architect on the whole thing. But yeah, keep an eye out for that announcement. Will be coming on social some point today, depending on when I fall asleep. Because Jesus, dude, I slept for 2 hours and I'm ready to go back to bed. So anyway, we'll see you guys next time. Thank you for joining us on the Zyori Podcast. Bye. We'll see you at the BTS.
Bye. Go enjoy open qualifiers.
Woo! Party on.